shaping the life of other people. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And I think you've done a lot in that regard with Africa Ohana. Okay, so I'm moving on to, I'll still come back to you, Jennifer. I have more questions for you, but let me move over to Rennie. Rennie, so you've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 17 years, right? Yeah, Salesforce architect, you're an educator. So what does technical leadership mean in today's Salesforce ecosystem?
Yeah, thank you so much for honoring me with answering this question. So leaders can be at so many levels, right? We can be a tech lead or a line manager. We can be a project lead. We can lead a value stream. We can be executive. But I think there is a commonality between all of this. If we want to speak about mindset, if we want to speak about intentionality, about impact. So what I spontaneously came up with, a leader must be a relentless facilitator. So it's not to put oneself front and center and to be the best in the room, but it's about facilitating the contribution of others. And there are ways to do that that are quite similar to what we see in more community-driven environments. So we have to be human-centric, not technology-centric. I mean, we need to speak about the technology, and that's the basis that we master that quite well. Otherwise, we can't do our job. But otherwise, it's about the human being. And for example, everybody is a learner. We cannot enter a project and believe that we don't have to learn in that. So we can be very intentional about facilitating the learning experience of everyone. And that includes really absolutely everybody, including executive management, will learn a ton on a project. And they will also speak about it if they are honest and if they are communicative. So a leader has to be visible. They have to be tangible, to be available, not sitting in conference rooms in a lofty ivory tower. They have to walk the factory floors. They have to talk to everyone all the time. And I've seen leaders that do that. And they have to be clever. So today being clever means letting AI do the heavy lifting on many things, shifting human talent to more higher value activities. And yeah, so it's about aligning human performance with technology. It's about facilitating decisions in the best possible way on a large basis, creating communities, empowering teams, and making others shine, making others excel. That's the function of a leader, for a period, for me.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Rennie. And okay, I think I'll still have one more question for you before I move on to Demi. And it's about career growth, right? How can professionals ensure their technical expertise translates into meaningful career growth and impact?
Yeah, okay. So that's actually slightly easier as a question.
Yeah.
So if I want to move forward, then I have to be good at what I do, make good contributions, and make those contributions visible. I have to speak up. I have to speak about what I do. I have to make others see the nexus between what they do and what I do. I have to be engaged inside the projects I'm working on, with leadership, towards the community, siphoning off my learnings and sharing them beyond the specific context, beyond my silo. And in terms of specializations, I think everybody would name data first or AI, the combination of them. I would say if we want to cleverly specialize nowadays and move forward, we can, of course, specialize in AI and its various facets. We can focus on security. You know how much of a concern that has recently become. It has always been, but it has come into the limelight. And flow and low-code development has become so powerful and so complex that I would think one can make a really good career out of that, especially in combination with AI and a security mindset. But I'll end the enumeration here. So yeah, there's so much to say about this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Renee. So I'll still come back to you, but let's move on to Demi. Hi, Demi.
Hi.
All right, so Demi, you're a program manager and you've been involved in, you have experience in delivering large-scale programs, right? So what would you say are the key factors for delivering successful projects?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. It's very thought-provoking. So I think many of us who are currently working within the Salesforce ecosystem or who would like to work within the Salesforce ecosystem will likely work to deliver projects or programs. So this can be, for example, on the consulting side, you may work on a greenfield program, so one where they perhaps don't have Salesforce currently, or you might even work on the end user side, assisting with the implementation and then managing the roadmap. So it's really important as Salesforce professionals that we understand what good looks like, because we all have a role to play in delivering excellence.
Yes.
So many times I've seen organizations jump straight into discoveries with the hope of then designing something and then implementing something.
Mm.
But actually the number one key tip for delivering any program, whether it's a large one or small one, is don't start there. Start with a business case. So why do we need to transform? Who will the transformation benefit? And how do we know if we've been successful? So understand what your North Star is. And once we have this knowledge and these guiding principles, we must ensure the whole team knows this, because we're all on the same journey and therefore we all need to share the same vision. It's really, really important. When we get to the delivery itself, let me share some tips on how to deliver successfully. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to briefly break it down into 3 areas. So we'll touch upon the process, the people, and the technology, because it's just a nice way to kind of remember things. So let's start with the process and let's interpret this in the context of the delivery process. So we need to understand inside out our delivery methodology. So for many organizations, they jump straight into Agile and they say, okay, let's use Agile because that's all we know. But they don't challenge, does this really work for us? Is it feasible to jump straight into discovery? Do we need a hybrid approach? So look at the organization, look at the maturity, look at the readiness, and don't be afraid to create something bespoke that works best. Another thing to call out here is your success is largely going to be based upon the governance and the planning. So ensure you have, for example, a robust sign-off process. Ensure you have a process for effective decision-making. And where most of these organizations fall down is they have end-to-end plans which are palatable, but they're not achievable. So ensure that it's achievable. Don't just put something in front of people that they want to see. With regards to people, and I know we've just touched upon it, but ensure you create empowered teams. The outcomes and success of your project lay with the people. So ensure you have a well-designed RACI, ensure people are accountable, they're growing, they're learning, and they feel as though they're stepping forwards and achieving their goals. People-centric delivery is vitally important. And lastly, we'll touch upon technology. So make the most of what you're buying. Don't just buy licenses for the sake of it. Make sure your technology meets the business case, the business needs, and have a plan as to when you're going to utilize each bit of the functionality you deem necessary.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jenny. So my next question for you still aligns with the first one. You've touched on it a little bit about building teams, right? But I just want to ask, How can professionals collaborate and maintain high performance in complex environments?
Yeah, so this one's a really good question as well. And I think here we need to start with a shift of thinking. So we need to pivot from this mindset of results and business outcomes being the most important thing. And we need to start thinking our people are our most important assets. Because if we enable and we nurture and we grow our people, we will achieve the business outcomes we desire. The outcomes are in the hands of our talent. These outcomes aren't just going to happen by themselves. They're with the people. And there are a number of techniques I have used in the past leading teams to ensure they either remain high performing or they become high performing. So the first one is understand each team member, understand them individually, understand their strengths, understand the areas they require improvement, where they are currently, the roles and responsibilities they're fulfilling, and where they want to get to. Now, for some people, they might have a year plan, they might have a 5-year plan, but for others, it might be very simple. In the next 6 months, I want to better my communication. I want to become a more proficient developer. And then your role as a successful leader is to balance the current business ambitions with the people's future ambitions. So explore ways you can help them meet these goals. Now, this can be something really simple as ensuring 10% of their role looks at stretch opportunities. So 10% of what they're doing on a daily basis, they might not know how to do it, but you're working towards making them better. Or it can be pinpointing training that can be paid for, that can be free, and designing a learning plan with them. And it can even be giving them a mentor. So work with these people at an individual level, but then also establish career paths and learning tracks. And I think one was just mentioned, and it's community. So it's the community, establishing a sense of community is going to help with collaboration, but it will also create excitement, and it will give people community to lean on when projects or times get difficult. And this is a really, really key incentivization strategy. A few things I've seen that work very well here are things like team social events, a platform for calling out success so people feel appreciated by their community, and even really simple things like all hands calls so people know what's going on, because you're more likely to be incentivized to collaborate if you feel as though you're kept in the loop.